Hey,
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 hey, how are you, man?
hey, hey. We both says we do
Hey,
that.
hey.
We've been friends for so long. I don't know if I started that or you started it or whatever, but somewhere we
I
just, no.
I started it. I think when my brother moved to Sweden, because that's what they say when they greet one another is "hey, hey," and
Well,
I just kind of started as saying it. I think around that time.
I'll take it. Yeah, I copy you, but I'm not copying that hat. I will never wear that hat. So
Okay,
you're
good.
with that hat.
This is my hat.
Yeah, that is your hat. I'll never do that one. So. Oh, what are we doing today? We're going to have some fun today. And hey, Chuck, thank you for the love. Really appreciate that. We're going to be talking about managing and growing social media presence. So, we've been talking a lot about social media, and I've been out shooting video, and so I've got in today and started catching up on a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that I was catching up on happened to be about advertising and being able to do social media and that kind of stuff. And one of the things this guy said, don't get on a platform that you don't like. And I thought, oh man, that's great. I'm so glad we have people that work for us that like doing social media. I know all about it, I know what we're supposed to go, but I just don't like it. And people laugh at me all the time because I'm not on it. But I don't care for it. It's just not my thing.
No, it's true. You know, the each platform is a little bit different, and there's different sort of focuses, if you will. Facebook, the focus really used to be about connecting with people that you know. These days, it's a little bit less about that. It's become a little more political and about groups that you want to belong to and things like that. But it used to be just more about the people that you knew in your circle of friends. Twitter's always just been about whatever the hell Twitter's about. Don't ask me.
It's a cesspool right now,
It
man.
really has devolved. Yeah, the early days it was fun and there were great communities of people. I mean, I met so many audio video designers and graphic designers through Twitter and back in the early days, and it was a great place for sharing resources with one another and everything. And it's just turned into I don't know. I don't want anything to do with it. So you definitely won't find me over on Twitter, but I mean, every one of them has a little. Pinterest is all about images, so and not just about images, but about crafting and creating things, spaces and things that you like and ideas. Instagram is about posting, who you are and what you're about and what your followers are about in video and visual
A lot of visuals.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A
and
lot of on Instagram.
so they're all different, and thankfully, maybe one or two will strike you as like, yeah, I could probably invest some time there, and I understand it. Like I get it. I get this platform. I think I could spend time here, and it would be good. Um, and but the rest of them may not really have much of an interest in at all.
Well, I'm kind of a fly by Facebook, fly by Instagram, fly by whatever. I just fly by every once in a while and like what I like and be on my merry little way. I mean, that's it. I've never felt like anybody really that interested in what I've got to say. So
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like, and Facebook's the only one that you'll ever see me in, and most likely you're not going to see me in. I lurk a lot. I kind of get in there once a day, sometimes twice a day, read comments, read what's going on, see if there's anything that I need to be aware of, monitoring our business reputation, and just kind of listening to what's happening in the industries that we participate in, both professionally as well as our client industries. And and then I'm gone. I don't have much desire to say much of anything, because you're right. It's like, why contribute my 2 cents to what essentially is just a whole bunch of people doing the exact same thing? Nobody really cares.
yeah, I mean that's the deal. I'm with you. I go in there quite a bit and never do anything. About once a day. So
Yeah.
that's about mine too. But there are times I'll go in and like and comment and do that, but it's I got to be in a really good mood, not a good mood, but in the mood to do that.
I
So,
got to be resilient. That's what I've decided is if I go in there and I'm just even the slightest bit agitated or anxious or anything else, Facebook will eat my lunch. I
yeah,
mean, I will get mad at everything. I'll become the old man who's like, "Get off my lawn," kind of just ranting and raving and just throwing tirades. Or I read it and go, "Oh my God, our country's going to hell," and this is, and I'll just get so depressed because of what I read. And so I have to be very resilient. I have to be braced for, that sort of a thing. And I make it a point not to just make my friend group and the groups that I'm a part of some kind of like insulated bubble that it's only things that believe what I believe or think the way I think. I mean, I really do intentionally try to expose myself to other ideas and other ways of thinking and people who disagree with me and who I know I'm going to disagree with, because I think that's important to be exposed to all of that. That's the real world, and I need to hear it. I need to see it and be exposed to it. But I got to be ready for it, or it's just like I can lose a day.
well, and in business too, it's a little bit different because there's a couple of different ways when you look at your social media presence. There are some people that what they really build is their personal. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been into some businesses that have great social media presence, but when I go and see who is actually engaging with them, they're other business owners in the same industry.
Yeah.
No, it's not their clients. They're not engaging with people in their, in their neighborhoods or whatever, their families engaging, their employees are engaging, and other business owners are engaging. And so I wonder sometimes, when I see that, it's like, that's interesting.
Well, it's an echo chamber, and it can get a little dangerous too, right? Because
Well,
I mean, when you're sitting there chatting with your buddies, who all do what you do, you have this sort of internal sense of values and things that because how unreasonable your customers can be. You're talking with your buddies here. I mean, these are people. If anybody gets how crazy customers can be, it's them. And so I've seen business accounts slip into this pattern of starting to badmouth customers and post things about this unreasonable customer did this, and all of the buddies jump in and dogpile it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I hate it when that happens," and check out what this one said. My customer said. And,
yeah.
this is like their business account where they're hoping to get customers, and I'm thinking you might as well just load it and pull the trigger.
Well, the other thing people don't realize is a lot of people don't just stop at your business page. They actually will go to the owner's page,
Yeah,
to their personal pages. And so when they're there and you're putting out a lot of, political, religious, whatever it is. And I'm not trying to stop anybody from having those conversations, but I would tell you to be cautious of how you're having those conversations, because there's going to be other people that may not agree with you, that may choose not to do business with you because they don't agree with you.
I've done it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I tend not to care. I really don't, because I grew up in a different time, and everybody had their own opinion. We just liked anybody anyway. I got lots of friends that are way over to the right, and lots of friends that are way over to the left, and I love them. So
Political, all of that stuff. No, say what you want. I use, of course, language. You can cuss on your. I don't care about any of that. What I mean is this particular person or this particular account was talking about customers.
Oh, no, that's
and blasting them for stupid stuff. Like, how could customers not know what we know? And I'm like, well then, dude, I'm not your customer then, because
I don't know.
I already feel intimidated by this stuff, and I need somebody to come do it for me because I don't know the first thing about it. But you're telling me if I invite you to my home, I stand the chance of being your next victim on social media? F that. I'm not going anywhere near it.
No, I agree with you. I was just fixing to say, controversial stuff doesn't keep me from doing what? It's the bashing. People are bashing things on social media, because here's the thing. When you're starting to manage and you want to grow your social media presence, you have to understand you're not in an echo chamber. When your customer actually comes to Facebook and searches for your business and searches you out as an owner, they're doing so to find out, is this the type of person that I want to let in my home? Is this the type of business that's going to care about me when when I let them in my home? I mean, those are things that, I saw something the other day that said, brands have just really been riding this comedy thing, and it's not working anymore. So they're scrambling right now to say, now what's going to work? The comedy doesn't work. So now what's going to work? And that's what happens. Everybody jumps on when something works and off they go. And it's the same thing with you and your buddies in the same business. You know what? One thing works, y'all all do it, then pretty soon it doesn't work anymore. So you got to figure out what's next. So there's a lot of things to this you just got to kind of look at. So let's jump in here. So that really goes along with defining your goals and your audience. Who do you want to serve? Who do you serve?
Who you want more of?
Yeah, who do you want more of? Sometimes you may want more of people that don't want you. You got to be careful about that. So I was having a conversation just recently, and I said, there's one thing I know that marketing doesn't do. And the guy, very sharp, said, yep, networking. And I'm like, you know what? There's two things marketing doesn't do. Marketing doesn't network. But here's the other thing marketing doesn't do. Marketing does not make people search for you. If they don't have a need, if they don't have a want, if they don't have a reason, they're not searching. And if they come to your website or they come to your social media and they don't have a need or a want right now, it may be great that they're looking at you. Fantastic. It's not bad, because you want to be memorable when they're searching and when they do have a need. But marketing cannot make somebody, go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't get blood from a turnip. I mean, so being clear about who your audience is.
Absolutely.
And, how you're going to use a goal for that social media platform, right? You've chosen a platform now. How are you going to use that platform to get in front of those target audience, that audience that you want more of, those prospective customers, and figure out if that platform is going to enable that. I mean, you got to know whether or not that audience is hanging out on that platform, and you got to know what kind of content they consume so that you can create that kind of content. And it's a moving target, and it always changes. Mm-hmm. But be okay and willing to create that. We're going to talk about content strategy next, but you got to do those things and be clear about goals and audience.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really important to do that. And if you don't do that, you're going to have an issue. There's going to be issues. So here's another one: content strategy, which you mentioned. So I'm going to let you go.
Yeah. So because every platform is different, and every platform, what works today is guaranteed not to work tomorrow. Or if it's not tomorrow, it's going to be at some point in the future. It's just not going to work as well. The trends, the fads, there are things that just are, when they work, they're great. When they don't work anymore, then you're wasting your time. There are some strategies, some content strategies that are a little more evergreen. One of those that I really like are, tips and tricks kind of things, where you can teach someone something in just, 30 seconds that's going to help them in some way related to, what it is that you do. We've used this example before, but it's always just one of my favorites this time of year, is how to choose the best firewood and season it for use in your, stove or fireplace. And it's a quick lesson. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to teach people the basics, or how to store your firewood for best burning or whatever. Those sorts of how-tos and tips and tricks are very valuable, and they're evergreen. I mean, they just work almost all the time. But if that's all you're posting and that's all anybody ever sees from you, then is it going to work forever? No. People are going to get tired of seeing that. They're going to want to see variety. They're going to want to see something new. So having a content strategy, having a strategy about the content that you're going to create and produce and publish on that social media channel that aligns with your target audience and your stated goals.
Well, so then I'm going to take that a little bit step further. because one thing is the content, but there's a lot of ways to produce and to show content. So there's written content, there's photos, there's videos, there's graphics. I mean, there's all different types of ways that you can present your content. So for those of us that love to write, yeah, we write our content. For those of us that love video, we do videos with our content. But some people like to read, some people like to have your video. So you have to figure out too exactly on that is what kind of medium are you going to use to distribute your content, to show your content. So that too is something I think that we forget. Personally, I think it ought to be mixed up. And that some should be writing, some should be video. You should have good photography, some graphics, maybe some infographics, some of those kind of things, so that you can play with that. So here's the other thing I think is real important when it comes to content. You need to know that these platforms like keeping people on that platform. So anytime that you're trying to move somebody from one platform to the other, especially in social media, a lot of times they don't show your content.
Yep.
And this is just one of those things that it sucks, but it's just the way it is. So a lot of times you may have a fantastic blog post. We'll keep the firewood example, that it's got all kinds of information on your website, and you want people to go over there and get all that information. The problem is these platforms aren't going to show that particular post because you're moving them off their platform.
Yep.
So a lot of times you have to recreate that blog post in a different format for the medium of social media.
Where people can digest it while they're on that platform and not have to click away.
And that's just one of those things. If you want people to call you, you want them to contact you, you want to get a hold of you, that's great too. But just do it within the platform. Almost all of them have a messenger, some kind of a component where they can get right to you. And Terry, thank you very much for the like. We always appreciate you being here as well. And we're just going to keep going here. Consistency and engagement. All right, I'm going to talk about consistency, and I'm going to turn engagement over to Carter. You all right with that, Carter?
Yeah, that's fine.
So here's the thing in marketing that I think a lot of people just miss. Yeah, I do it when I can. When I can get to it, I'll get it done. Well, yeah, okay, I know I need to do that, but yeah, I'll do that, but I'll have to do it at some point. So the problem with that is there's nothing consistent. And marketing is all about consistency. This is one of those things that I've told people, when they talk about what does Spark Marketer do for us, this is one of the things that we do is we're consistency doing the same thing, month after month, some week after week. There are things that get done on a consistent basis. And over time, all those things build up. And I'm going to talk about that here in just a minute. But the consistency, you need to set it up that you can be consistent. So I'll just say this podcast, we're here. One of us is here every week at 3:00. Even when we are on vacation, we'll do a rerun. We'll set something up to where it's here at 3:00 on Thursdays on Central Time. So, that sets a consistent message that anybody that wants to tune in live, they know they can be here at that time and we're going to be here. Now, sometimes we're not both here, depending on what's going on, but one of us are going to be here. So that's what I'm talking about, consistency. If you can only do it once a week, then just do it once a week. If you can only do it once every 2 weeks, just do it once every 2 weeks. But be very consistent about it and make sure you are doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
It's good. So engagement is kind of a continuation of that. You want your content to be something that evokes a response, and that is tough. I mean, that is a hard thing to really get done well and do well. For us, the way we found the most engagement is by doing these doing these live broadcasts where we can live stream, people join us, they ask questions in real time, we get comments, that sort of engagement. We enjoy it more because we get to hear from people while we're doing the show, and that energizes us. But it also just it's an easier way to get engagement, we found, than by posting a blog post or producing a video and releasing it. People don't often take the time to comment and engage, or like it or share it or any of those other things. And so, finding a way to create content, finding the content mix that people engage with is important for two reasons. Number one, you just want people to engage with your content because that's why you're creating it, after all, is to get a response, to hear that people appreciate what you're doing. Otherwise, it can get very lonely creating content, and you can feel like you're just knocking your head against the same old wall every week after week after week. Well, I'm consistent, how come I'm not getting engagement? So it can be really discouraging not to. But the other reason you want engagement is because, you need to know that the work that you're putting into this is actually getting you work. It's getting you business. And, that's part of what engagement means as well. It's not just all about likes and comments. It's about phone calls and filling out the form on your website to schedule an appointment. And sometimes you don't always see the connection, but that's what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah. So I like this. So Terry sets an alarm so she doesn't miss our live podcast.
Me too.
I think we all do, Terry. I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that has one. And by the way, this is Chuck Roydhouse, bald and beautiful. That's me. I think
that was early in the show.
I think I'm the bald one and you're the beautiful one, by the way.
No, you're the bald and beautiful. I'm the one with the hat. That's what he was saying. That was earlier.
Oh, Lord. All right. So let me see. Let me go on here. Let me hide the comments. I thought that was funny.
Well, let's talk analytics and data-driven decisions.
So here's the thing that I thought, again, going through some things this morning, there was a guy's name is Rand Fiskin, and he puts out these 5-minute deals every week. And, one of the things, what he really talked about is how a lot of the really good things in the way that most people get the majority of their business, that it's really hard to get your analytics out of, because it's not automatic. It's not like the analytics you get with, all the platforms, the analytics you get with ads. I mean, your ROI right there, and it is immediate and you get it. But, you do something like SEO, even your Google Business Profile, the more you optimize it, the more you work it. I mean, all those things are things that take time. The time, consistency, all the things that builds up there. But you the only way you can really kind of prove it is through, what they used to call vanity metrics. Mm-hmm. And yet, if you take those things away, what people at that point, they realize how much they relied on them. So, analytics is great. Having data driven and making those decisions in those platforms that can give you really, really good analytics, that's fantastic. But just understand there's some things that you can do. It's not just SEO, PR, public relations, getting some PR releases, out. I mean, these are all things, content distribution. These are things that take a while. And so as they build, it brings you business. And a lot of times it brings long-term business. So it's not short-term like an ad. So if you're going to use ads, but did y'all know that you can get analytics on your organic as well? You can. There's analytics in the back of Facebook and Instagram. Now, I don't know about Pinterest and TikTok. I'm not big on those. Don't look very often. But my guess is there's going to be analytics on pretty much everything in those platforms, because they are, kind of walled networks, and they're able to do that. So just understand analytics in these platforms is really important, but don't forget that there are things that you can do outside this that you may not get an immediate ROI from it, but long term, you'll actually sustain your business really well. So,
And, absent really detailed uh, analytics, because it can be tough. Not only is it tough to find it in the platforms and things, but a lot of times the data that it's giving you doesn't mean a whole lot when you don't have a really big engagement. Like when your engagement is really low and maybe 2 or 3 people like a post that you post, and it's just consistently that way, you're not getting a whole lot of data to be able to make data-driven decisions. So sometimes it's just you got to go with the old gut, the old, the anecdotal, the way I'm feeling about this is I think I'm going to keep doing this. And, because when I do this, it seems like I get more response than when I do other things. But constantly challenge that assumption. Never rely on your gut without questioning whether or not it's telling you the truth. Constantly be asking the question, is that really true? When I create this kind of content and put it out there, does it really get more attention or more business for me versus other kinds of content? And test it and make sure that you're, not just relying on your gut, but because your gut will lie to you. So will numbers too, if you're not reading them right. And that's the real, the real rub.
Well, not only that, I think with this as well, there are people that will start and they think they have to be in all the platforms. They're in TikTok, they're in this, they're that, they're this and there, and they run themselves ragged. And then they don't understand why they're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
So that's where, your audience, where's your audience, age, gender, all these different things you need to take in consideration, and then just pick one. I tell people all the time, just pick one. Get that one done and see what you can do on that one first, and stay with it, be consistent, all the things we've talked about, and find your data from that. If you're doing that for 6 months to a year and you don't feel like you're getting anything out of it, fine. Pick another one. Try something else.
Change.
Yeah. The things is you can always change back, number one. Number two, this is one of the things that drives me a little bit batty when people do something for a month and they go, well, this thing doesn't work. Let me tell you, in marketing, if you're just going to try for a month, don't try. Just don't do it. It's not going to work. 99 times out of 100, it will not work if you do it for one whole month. You've got to do it for at least 6 months to a year. Just have any kind of information that, is anything that you can sink your teeth into. I mean, you have to have more data than what you get in a month.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah, just it. So here's the other thing. So AI is wonderful. I love AI. My wife is in love with AI right now. I mean, she's doing some magnificent stuff with it, with her business. And it's really, really just kind of changed her world because she's able to, get in there and talk to it and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of AI, I think, is wonderful. It's almost like having an assistant or a sounding board. It's fantastic. These algorithm things are driving me nuts right now because we're finding some things out. Just think about this. If I'm a business and I control advertising and I control the algorithm around that advertising, then anytime I need to make more money, guess what I can change? I can change the algorithm. So, I mean, some of the stuff that's coming out of this lawsuit right now is really disturbing because
you're talking about the lawsuit against
Google.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the United States against Google. They're looking at them being oh God, I just had it. Monopoly. Thank you. And I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to make but here's the thing: whether they are, whether they aren't, they're really the only game in town. And so we have to play with them no matter what. So we have to adapt to the algorithm. And sometimes that means we go against what Google tells us to. Because when Google tells us, oh yeah, you need to go do this, I've gotten to the point as a marketer to go, this is okay. We'll go do that. But as soon as I see that there's something that's just really funky over there, we're going to go back and do whatever, something else until it works the way that we want to work. So you've got to pay attention to algorithms. You have to pay attention when they change. You have to pay attention when the trends are there. It's just one of those things. I hate it. I really do. I would really love to say, everybody that plays is playing nice. But it's really about money, and they've got shareholders, and I understand that too. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's the way it is. So we have to pay attention and adapt. Just period.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, how did you feel?
I think we covered it all. I don't have any other notes. This is very similar to one we did about 3 weeks ago. I mean, it's similar, but not exactly. So yeah, it's good to really drill this home.
Well, it really is about managing. I mean, you really have to manage your platform and manage what you're doing in order to grow social.
Totally.
If you don't manage and you just throw things up there just because, I need a post today, that's not managing it. That's not paying attention. So you really have to do that.
Although I will say that in those moments when I've been rushed to throw something up because I wanted to be consistent and I just needed something to get up there, 9 times out of 10, that ends up being the one that, like, one of the big posts of the year when you do the recap at the end of the year. It's like, oh wow, that post, that last minute, barely thought about it, threw it up there without any consideration at all, just wasn't part of the strategy or anything. And suddenly it's like, that did really well. So pay attention to those things, because it could be that you luck into, something that could really work well.
And I'm going to tell you, if all you want is just engagement with anybody, all you got to do is put cat and dog pictures up. It's just do a bunch of cat pictures, cats going crazy, dogs going crazy, all that kind of stuff. I can guarantee you that will get you a whole long way. Now, whether anybody will work with you after you do that, I don't know. You can test it and try. Seriously, you can test it.
Yeah. I mean, people have such short attention spans, it probably doesn't matter if the cats and dogs don't have anything to do with your business. Just show some really cute cats and dogs for about 15 seconds. And at the end, put your logo, what you do, and a phone number. And it may work.
I guarantee you, I've just been on a trip. I came home, and I bet you I have 15 cat and dog deals from Instagram and TikTok and whatever in my messenger that my wife sent me that I hadn't had time to look at. So I'll watch the football game tonight, and I'll go through and watch cat and dog because that's what we do. Anyway, guys, Spark Live is also released as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Podvine, or your favorite player. And so we're going to talk about content marketing. We're going to get deep into content marketing next week. Ought to be fun.
Yeah.
Love that content marketing. All right. And it's just going to be Carter. And I'm going to try to see if maybe Emily can join you.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
Wait, yeah. She really knows the content stuff. So I'm going to be at a convention next week. So Carter will be here, hopefully with Emily. If not, hopefully with Corey. Somebody will join you.
I mean, if I need to be by myself, it won't be the first time, and I'm okay with that too.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Really appreciate y'all being here. Y'all have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week. Talk about some content.
Bye, everybody.